You're listening to the Badger State Ball Podcast with Prep Baseball Wisconsin, breaking down the top high school prospects and featuring all things college baseball recruiting in a changing world. Hosted by Vinny Rotino, Josh Fields, and Andy Sroka, this is Badger State Ball.
All right, guys, welcome back into another episode of Badger State Ball. It's me, Andy Sroka here. We got Vinny Rotino, Josh Fields, Nick DiBenedetto on with us this time around. So last week we talked about a couple of our, national type, high-level events that had some of the, top MLB draft prospects, not just from Wisconsin, but just the whole region and area and country, really. But the Wisconsin representation at those events, whereas today we're going to talk about our first winter showcase of this season, which took place on Saturday, January 31st in Kenosha, the Kenosha Preseason ID. So, we're just going to spend a little bit of time talking about that event, which I think was, I don't know, Vinny, you've been doing this now for, this was probably your third, year, or maybe even fourth in Kenosha, was it?
Yeah. Fourth year in Kenosha. I mean, this was easily, and we talked about this a bunch, easily the most talented group of players that we've seen at the Kenosha PID, not to take anything away from the past events, but just in terms of depth, it seemed like there was a lot of talent at this event. There was 31 players there. Josh and I and Nick, and you, Andy, were all there, and we're just kind of looking around and saying, my goodness, there's a lot of, loud contact coming off of the bat. There was a lot of good actions in the infield, and then the bullpen work was really, really good as well. So, I was not pleasantly surprised. I was just pleasantly observing.
It felt like it's always nice to get off to a good start like that. Just kind of having some guys instantly to add to, our kind of watch list. And eventually, once this winter season ends, we'll be ranking players and stuff. But having some players that either we hadn't seen before or was just this great updated look at them and being able to right away add to these lists that we're kind of keeping internally and get to publish down the road here is a good feeling. And then in this event in particular, going through some of our post, event content work that we've already published, it felt like there were some younger players too, more than usual. I think that's what you mean, even on top of that, Vinny, what you were saying, where it's just we got this great look and introduction, to some of these prospects that we hadn't maybe met before, so it was a great first look at some of those guys too. So we'll talk about those players. And I guess we could just kind of get into it right now. So I'm working off of our Kenosha Preseason ID Quick Hit story, which is published on our website, which contains, greater analysis, more in-depth analysis on the players that we'll talk about, not just here, but, if we don't happen to mention some of the standouts there, I think we'll go in greater detail, like I said, inside this Quick Hit story, so you can find that on our website. But I guess leading off, maybe we'll talk first about Everett Lucero. Fields, what do you think? Westosha Central, first baseman. He is a junior in high school there, but I think this was one of the overall, at least offensively, overall winners of the day. He's just a strong kid who, naturally had some of the, best, most impressive, bat strength type numbers, exit velocity and so on. But Fields, do you want to talk a little bit about Lucero just to kick us off?
Yeah, Lucero was a guy that we identified last year at this same event, and this year he just looked like he kind of leveled up as a player. The impact at the plate was a little more. There was a lot of up the middle. The barrel accuracy was there throughout the round. A lot of up the middle contact. A lot of really easy and just kind of a violent swing. But it also looked really, really good and really improved on the infield. I mean, I think this guy is going to be able to stick at first and provide a pretty comfortable, pretty steady presence over there defensively. But this looks every bit of a guy that can, really bang at the middle of the order in a WIA lineup over here.
Yeah, I mean, and then the 95 mile per hour average exit velocity, that's what really stood out to me. The overall performance from Lucero was impressive. Like Josh was saying, the glove work at first base looked pretty cleaned up. It looked good over there first. Definitely looks like he can stick at the first base position. But the swing was super repeatable. It was short and compact for such a big, strong kid. I mean,
yep.
And we were watching him run the 30. I'm like, this kid could probably be an edge rusher somewhere in college as well. I mean, he's just a big, strong, athletic dude. And then he's got such a short, repeatable swing, and he was hitting rockets at 95 average. off the bat. So really impressive stuff from him, especially during the hitting portion of the event.
Yeah, no, that's a great call. He does look like an edge rusher, actually. That's a good comp there, Vinny. Well, cool. I think one of the players, too, that stuck out to me was Paxton Akens. So we're moving down a class here. He's a sophomore at Racine Lutheran infielder. And I was not at the Kenosha event last year. Fields, was he at last year's event? And maybe you were comparing him.
Yeah, he was.
Because either way, like I thought, looking at the video from last year's event and then comparing it to what we saw in person this year, just a couple weeks ago, I thought this was pretty impressive improvement. And like this is another repeatable compact swing, athletic looking kid as well. And there was bat speed here. He was making some pretty hard contact for a player his age, and then the infield actions as well. Like just pound for pound, felt like one of the winners of the day, I would say.
Oh yeah, 100%. It looked like this kid year over year. Just I don't think like on the weight scale it looked like it, but it looked like he added 10 pounds of muscle, and he was just the swing looked a lot differently, a lot cleaner, a lot like easily repeatable, and the barrel accuracy also ticked up. Like it was one of the more impressive rounds of BP on the day, and it also looks like he can stick on the infield long term. So this is just when you swing like that and can defend it and pick it in the infield, you're doing a really good thing for you, especially smaller school kid, and I know he played varsity last year, so he's got a lot of experience as well.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Probably maybe not the biggest winner of the day, just because we did see a couple of really impressive looks on the mound, and I know we both like the Seaffort kid a lot. But however, I would say like this kid talk about leveling up. I mean, he really jumped up with the just the overall like athleticism and the overall strength and twitchiness and the bat speed. Everything just looked like it went from physically maturing, but also like the skill wise. I mean, it's really taking a big jump forward here. He probably sticks at short, like I said, or like Field said, and then the ball was coming off the bat hot. I mean, really quick swing, really quick swing. Small school, and this kid really kind of opened up some eyes. And not to be forgotten, I mean, he looks like Brady Counsell in the face. I had to do a double take. I thought he was Brady. But Brady Counsell's back at a showcase here in Kenosha. No, but it was sophomore Paxton Akens from Racine Lutheran High.
Yeah, and just for some context here, too, so he was just behind Lucero, who's a year older than him, and like we said, this really physical kid, but he was just behind Lucero in both, average exit velocity, as well, I think max too, and then bat speed too. So I mean, you're able to kind of see some of the metrics there, and he's doing it a little bit differently as more of a lean kind of build athlete. So he's got some ways to go, like some ceiling there too. And talking about him defensively, athletically, definitely a floor raiser as well. So Paxton Akens, a member of the sophomore class that we get to add to our list, which is a class that I think has some question marks just coming in the year. Like it just feels very wide open. So getting a name like that early on to add to this list was pretty important. A good takeaway for us in Kenosha. 2 29s that I think, and you already mentioned one, Vinny, but that are worth really diving into here, and maybe these two guys were, pound for pound, the biggest takeaways from the day. But both you guys, I mean, you love Gabriel Seaffort, and then we have Cash Pengian as well from Wilmot, Gabe Seaffort from Jefferson, so he's in good hands over there with Coach Featherstone and stuff. But Fields or Vinny, whichever one you guys want to take it away on Seaffort, because this was a two-way player who I think earns a ton of attention.
Yeah, I don't want to step on Josh here, but because I know Josh is just a huge fan. But I also am a huge fan of this look that we got from Seaffort, Gabriel Seaffort, Jefferson High freshman, 2029. I was kind of, again, did a double take. Like, this kid's only a freshman. I mean, 6'2", 180 pounds. I can see long term that this kid is going to be one of the top arms in the state from the left side. However, it was also very, very impressive for what he was able to do with the bat and at first base. So really loose, free and easy swing from the left side was producing some really impressive max exit velocities at 93 miles per hour. So that's only going to tick up as this guy gets bigger and stronger. But, on the mound, it was, up to 80 miles per hour, good tight slider, feel for a changeup, really repeatable mechanics. This is exactly, we've talked so often and almost ad nauseum at when we see a freshman or an 8th grader in high school that has this loose, kind of repeatable, athletic move down the mound and through the ball from the left side especially, and how those kids just tend to kind of like show up at the biggest events by the time they're juniors and seniors, and potentially even show up at the future games next year. So we'll keep a really close eye on this kid. Really, like I said, big fan. And I know, Josh, you are too.
Yeah, Fields, you kind of set the table here for it because we were just kind of on the way to Kenosha maybe the day before. We were just kind of like thinking about who, could come away from the event as like a winner, quote unquote. And Seaffort was one of the first names you mentioned. But, did he meet expectations or exceed them for you coming in?
I mean, I thought he met expectations. It looks like he can, it looks like he's going to really compete for innings on the mound and at-bats at the plate for Coach Featherstone and Jefferson. And they have a really high expectation this year. I know they have a lot of seniors, and they're going to really try and win state this year. But I think he's more than capable of providing more than quality at-bats and innings on the mound for them. Vinny said 3 pitches, feel for 3 pitches. But just the overall movements, like he said, is just something that we're already identifying. And, there's some history of these really starting to play up as they mature into their frame. So just something we're going to really continue to follow throughout his career here.
Yeah, it's just digging into the metrics a little bit more with him being up to 80 from the left side at that size, but then the slider, the breaking ball, a ton of horizontal movement, but with the spin feel attached to it, over 2,400 RPM on the spin rate. And there's just some things here that are, hard to teach, if not impossible to kind of teach, and the fact that he's got the size to back it up. There aren't too many guys around the corner like that. But then we have Cash Pengian, who I thought was one of the better swings just of the day. This kind of lanky athlete, 5'11", 160 pounds, but was making a ton of quality contact. Looked pretty good behind the plate too. It's where he was working out at catcher. I know Coach Richter at Wilmot thinks that Cash is a super bright future too. He kind of flagged him as a player to keep an eye out ahead of time. We were pretty familiar with Cash coming in, but he was totally right in that Pengian feels like definitely a high end 2029 to follow in the future here. I think we even internally we're just trying to figure out if we had to publish our rankings tomorrow or something like that, where would he fit in? And it was hard. It felt like it was close, almost like the top, 15 or something. We'll see as the rest of the winter goes on. But Fields, you want to chime in here too on what you got out of Cash's performance?
Yeah, it definitely cemented his status, at least for me, as one of the top catchers in this class for the state. There's not. I mean, when you can catch and hit like this, he's already got some catch and throw traits, and you see the swing. We really like the swing. This is gonna it's only gonna get better as he adds on strength and continues to tick up as an athlete. So there's just a ton of things that are going really good for him, especially the fact that right now we think he can right now and then down the line we think he can really catch and just be an asset defensively.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe, looking back at his Rising Stars event from last year, and just this kid has, it looked like a good player, solid player. Okay, where's this guy going to go? And then all of a sudden Cash shows up at this event, and it looked like a completely different player. I mean, the swing was still there, but the strength, the athleticism behind the plate. I think this kid's actually going to be able to stick behind the plate. Love the swing. It is talk about repeatable. Can't see a whole lot of swing and miss happening with how compact and short and quick that thing is. So, and then the catch and throw, really. I mean, 2.07 we had him at with the pop time. So, this kid has got a bright future, and I think he's going to be able to stick behind the dish.
Yeah, on that topic too, behind the plate, I felt like there were a few catchers for sure that stood out. Like, and we'll probably talk about more than just this one, but I mean, Josiah Black. I mean, Fields, do you want to like talk about him just as a defender, and then because I think if you just looked at the raw offensive metrics, it felt like Josiah Black was just on paper one of the better guys, and we liked it there too. But I feel like whenever we're doing the rankings, we're updating the rankings. Like we kind of every year, every time, every update, we're like, where are the catchers, or we kind of need more. So like in your head, you're always valuing those guys a little bit differently. And I felt like Josiah Black was like, okay, let's make sure that we really give this a closer look when it does come to rankings time. But Fields, you want to talk a little bit about Josiah Black's performance?
Yeah, I mean, at the plate offensively, it looked like a really clean, repeatable swing that, just visibly it looks like this swing is going to play in game. And then, you were talking about defensively, like just the added value of just being able to catch long term, and the catch and throw really looked like just clean, repeatable, in lines to second. The glove to hand looked really advanced, and there was some arm strength. I mean, maybe some accuracy concerns around the bag, but that can get cleaned up. And once it does, you're going to start to see him really start to control the run game a little bit here.
Yeah, it's still only a sophomore, so like you said, like it's stuff to clean up, but you're almost surprised when a player this age doesn't have stuff to clean up. So the fact that the arm strength is there, and again, like the action too, the arm action was like another thing that's just kind of tough to teach if you don't have it as a catcher. And Josiah does, and I know the guys over there in Kenosha are pretty confident in him as well. So. He feels like another guy on this list. So, like I said, he's a sophomore going to Indian Trail. He actually seems like a guy who might even earn some varsity attention this spring, as soon as this spring. So, Josiah Black is another one. I kind of opened the door here, too. Before we get back into it, we need to tell you about a big upgrade here at Prep Baseball. If you're serious about stepping up your recruitment, we just revamped our Prospect Plus subscription, and it's a game changer. Prospect Plus now lets you upload your own videos directly to your profile. So your best swings, innings, defensive highlights are front and center where college coaches are already looking. New this year, you also receive a $100 showcase credit built right in. On top of that, you still get all the Prep Baseball Plus features, including access to a sortable college database across every division, school tracker tools, and advanced search filters to find the right fit. You can manage your profile, track schools, organize your recruiting calendar, and access coach contact information all in one place. And yes, you can download your videos at any time. Bottom line, Prospect Plus is built for athletes who want more control, more exposure, and recruiting tools that actually matter. Head to prepbaseballreport.com to subscribe. Now, let's get back to the show. Well, I don't know if you want to talk about any Illinois guys, Vinny, on this podcast, but is it Ryland Lamp time for you to mention Ryland Lamp and his performance here?
Yeah, it probably is. There are some other guys that we need to definitely touch on from Wisconsin, give the Wisconsin love. But no, there was some guys from Illinois that showed up that were, very, very impressive, and Ryland Lamp was certainly one of them. So this kid, I'm like, why are you uncommitted? Big 6'9". What did he weigh? 178, 180 pounds. Really loose, repeatable delivery, and he was up to 88 miles per hour?
86, I think. But it was, 86. But it was topped out. Really good, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, really good, really repeatable. Spun a breaking ball, had feel for an off-speed pitch as well. Was it a split change type of a pitch? Mm-hmm. But so it was like, I was like, well, how are you remaining uncommitted at this point as a senior at Lake Zurich High School down over the border? And he said, well, he was at 82, 83 miles per hour, topping out, and then he worked with his coach back home, a big leaguer. I'm blanking on his name currently, but he's a current big leaguer, and he's kind of just helped him kind of get a little bit more out of his frame, out of the lower half, and how he kind of moves. Gets more explosive down the mound, and all of a sudden this kid is showing like he's going to be like a real prospect to potentially maybe go to a junior college or maybe a smaller D1 just to kind of see where he can develop. Because if he puts on a little bit more weight, if he continues to work on what he's been doing, I mean, you can certainly see a 90-mile-per-hour fastball and above from this kid, this kind of athlete, and this kind of delivery. So really, really good look from Ryland Lamp.
Yeah, Fields, it kind of strikes me as like a quintessential like high-end JUCO guy, like right here. Like it feels like it's such an easy fit to, land at like a, I don't know, Heartland or something. Like this is like a perfect guy that we'd be kind of scratching our heads at like a year or two from now and be like, where did it come from? But getting to see, him and the improvements he clearly made over the offseason, I thought was a huge takeaway just in general from Kenosha.
Yeah, I feel like colleges are going to bet on that frame as well. I mean, being that big with he's got muscle, but there's definitely room to grow. Like, colleges are going to bet on that because, like I said, with that frame, he can throw 95 easily in, a couple months. Like, you never know with that. So
yeah, literally.
I was really impressed.
Yeah, 6'8", 191 pounds, like measured in at this event. So, he was hard to miss coming in for sure. So here's some other 27s. Like, guys, we can just chime in on any of these guys. Like, if you want to talk about them a little bit more, but just working off our quick hit story again. Here we have Hudson Bailey from Shorewood, Nathan Corey, infielder, another West Osher Central guy, and then Jarrett Funk from Indian Trail, another Indian Trail kid. Any of those guys you want to get in there on?
Well, I want to just touch on Jarrett Funk because you're talking about a junior in high school right now who's 5'6", 125 pounds. And I don't know how many times I've told the story, my personal story about that. That's kind of where I was at that same age, just in terms of size and strength. And you could see, Jarrett at some point, getting bigger, stronger, faster. But the actions, really, really good. The swing, so repeatable, so well sequenced. Using the ground really well and kind of super loose and able to kind of deliver the barrel from the ground up. It's just not real easy to teach that kind of move through the baseball, with the bat, and then just probably stays at second base for the time being. But you can envision again, a little bit bigger, stronger, arm strength ticks up a little bit, and he could potentially play shortstop at the next level. So we'll see where he lands because he can play now. This kid's a player. I'm just saying at the next level, once he physically matures, I think this kid is going to be able to play somewhere. All the ingredients are there. Just, again, a little bit bigger, faster, stronger, and he'll potentially be able to land somewhere and make an impact.
Yeah, nice. Totally agree. He was a good example of somebody that, like, again, there was kind of like this list of guys, like, where it was just like, oh, yeah, he was good too. Like, there just was a ton of really good talent there in Kenosha. Fields, and anything on Hudson Bailey or Nathan Corey or maybe somebody else here on this quick hits list?
Yeah, I actually wanted to bring up Brady Schoenfeld, actually. Another right-handed hitter, Indian Trail guy. A lot of Indian Trail guys on this list. But,
I'm making a mental note of that here for IT. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but Schoenfeld was another Puma guy, showed out last year at this event, but also just he looked like he started to figure out how to like sync up, repeat more often. Like that was the big takeaway year over year, as well as just the actions on the infield. It's a cleaner look. The actions look more athletic. There's the glove to hand is still there, and there's some arm strength across the field, and it's accurate. I think he's going to be able to, maintain holding down an infield spot, whether that's any of the three spots, third, short, or second, really.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree on Schoenfeld. This kid, and you could tell, you could just tell the way players kind of carry themselves around a showcase, just carry themselves in general with their baseball bag over their shoulder, walking into an event, or the way they're warming up, or the way they're listening to kind of the introductory speech that I'm giving, or listening to instructions at fields you're giving for certain things at an event. You can just tell the kids that really love the game, have passion for the game, really want to get the most out of their ability. That's this kid, and he's already gotten a lot better. And we've always kind of liked what he's been able to do and the actions, and you're just kind of dreaming on what, once he talk about a kid that once he physically matures, what he's going to turn into. So you're kind of dreaming on that already. And then you're seeing that in real time, and you're seeing that kind of play out now with Brady Schoenfeld. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he could do this spring. And then even the following year, even next year, when he gets a little bit bigger, stronger, faster.
Yeah. And I know that's like kind of anecdotal, Vinny, what you're talking about, where it's like, noticing a player that just feels really like, locked in. And your speech beforehand, I mean, I think it just mattered. Like, it's just kind of like a respect thing of like paying attention. Like you've been around, you've done a lot, and like, just clearly listening to instruction, little things like that. Like, it makes a difference, but it makes a difference in that I felt like having this offseason now, this winter, we've interacted with a lot of the, higher end guys like that are at the Super 60 or at the Pro Case or whatever. And I just feel like a lot of those kids from Wisconsin anyway, like, since we've gotten to know them a little bit more over the years, are exactly that way. Like, they're not very like Hollywood, like, think they're better than you type thing. Like, I think that's almost like a shared trait that all these kids have at that level, where they're not better. They don't think they're better than, certain tasks or roles or whatever, like paying attention to stuff. Like, I think they all kind of share that. So like, I think it's noticeable too when you see it in some of these other players. Like, if they're handling it that way and, they're this highly thought of, there's really no reason why that shouldn't be you too. So I just kind of wanted to make that point because I think that's a good one, Vinny, that you noticed there.
And on the same note, just kind of segueing into a player that kind of embodies that same kind of mentality is Jackson Blind that I wanted to touch on. I mean, this kid continues to show up at events, and he's this exact same way. And he went from, I got to look at his body notes from last year. 5'6", 146 pounds from. I'm sorry, that was not last year. That was in the summer. Let's see. Last year at the same event, 5'3", 125 pounds. So as a sophomore. So again, dreaming on a player that could potentially get bigger and physically mature, and then now he showed up 5'7", 170 pounds. So he clearly has been doing the work in the weight room. He looks stronger. The ball was coming off the bat a little bit hotter. We love this left-handed swing. Josh and I look at each other. He's the first round of the day this last year, probably the last 2 years, because he's a left-handed hitting catcher. So we always have those guys hit first. And Josh and I looked at each other. This kid can hit. So we love the swing. Behind the dish, his arm strength's going to continue to get better, and that's going to be kind of a key for him. And then he's catching Ryland Lamp, a guy that's throwing 86 with some nasty secondaries, and he's doing it with no problem. And
well, that is totally, for sure. And I feel like there's a lot of these things that, like, at catchers specifically, where you're like looking at, okay, what were they throwing out of, like, if you were just looking on paper for some of these things, like their arm strength, their pop times, things like that. Like, it's harder than even some of the other positions, I guess, to really read between the lines, because it's sort of like a first things first. Can you receive? Like, are you a depth blocker? Things like that. And Blind was, I thought, like, just watching Pens, was definitely the day's most impressive, like, receiver. He was just the most confident, and like him just around the plate and blocking, moving around, like he was mobile and just kind of like. Flexible. It just felt like everything was there. And like, if you can do that, if you can receive, I think you open a lot of doors for yourself. And him being the level of receiver he was, while receiving, Lamp was a great call just because it's a pretty unique look, especially if you've never caught him before, which he hasn't, obviously. So that was, definitely a takeaway on Blind, was just the fact that he could receive at that level.
Yeah, totally agree. And he's got some leadership qualities behind the plate as well. So that's kind of the thing that, yes, you can teach that, but if you have a kid like Blind with those natural abilities to really be confident behind the plate for a pitcher, that gives pitchers so much confidence themselves when they're on the mound. So he's definitely checking that box. And defensively, I think he's going to be able to stick behind the plate again with that added arm strength. At some point, I think it's going to come.
Yeah. That actually reminds me of a little bit the way you described Blind from a year ago with this next kid from Oak Creek, Brock Tasky. I just remember during the infield portion of the event, like, I made a mental note of Brock Tasky's round of defense, because I thought it was maybe the best one of the day, despite being, just smaller currently, like his current size. But he's this freshman at Oak Creek, like I said. And the defense kind of was a separator for me, I thought. And then he took a pretty solid round of BP, but one that felt like it could foreshadow like the exact type of jump that we've referred to some of these other guys taking year to year. from, both last year's Kenosha event, fast forward to this year's. It felt like, we'll be talking about Brock Tasky a little bit differently even, a year from now. So I don't know if you saw anything differently or if I summed that up, but anything to add into that?
No, yeah, you pretty much summed that up. That was a guy I was circling to bring up as well. But yeah, we talk time and time again, Andy, about just guys at this age that look this good on the infield, and generally what those jumps are, and like yeah, those jumps tend to be pretty impressive, and just making sure that we're locked in on Brock Tasky going forward now, just monitoring that and the progression.
Yeah, and just like even not to compare him to some of these guys we saw at the pro case in Super 60 per se, but just the fact that like you always kind of assume those rounds of infield defense that you're watching are just like 10 out of 10 polished, like making every single play, like doing it like with style and all this stuff. And then, but you don't see, you realize like even watching sessions like that in a showcase setting, like how rare that skill is, which is why I think we talked about like Ian Koshinski, his performance at the pro case. But like I think Tasky's just on the same plane in that like the fact that he looks this good defensively at this age, it feels like he's just gonna create a lot of like different opportunities for himself. So if some of the offense stuff catches up to that, it just all of a sudden it means he's like a really 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 good player. So Brock Tasky, definitely one of the underclassmen that we came away impressed with from Kenosha.
Yeah, and this kid's everything's gonna just get a lot better. It just looks like his body's like wanting to put on weight and get bigger and taller, and then just the athleticism and how he's doing it and getting through the baseball. The really quick rotator. I'm noticing and noticed at the showcase on the 31st there, just how quick that lower half kind of moves and turns, and then the upper half follows it. Quick hands, and yeah, defensively look really sound. So he's going to be one of these guys that we talk about like probably next year in terms of like this is one of the probably top players in the class for the 2029s.
Yeah, he's got it definitely has a chance to be that exact type of player. All right, and then we have some other two-way players here, so I'll list a few, and then we can just kind of chime in again, like whoever wants to speak up on one of these three guys. I'll start with juniors from Catholic Central, Wyatt Lighting, or outfielder, right-handed pitcher, same positionally, Owen Miller from West Scotia, and then we have Owen Sunderson from Illinois at Hinsdale Central High School, who we've actually seen a couple times now this winter, both at this event and we just saw him at O'Hare Preseason ID over the weekend. But any of those three guys you want to start with? I don't know, Fields or even Nick maybe. I don't know if you saw Owen, since you're our resident Illinois guy. You can.
I was impressed with Owen Miller. I mean, the athleticism. He had the best 30-yard dash there. He jumped almost 26 inches, and then even on defense, it looked really clean. I think it was 83 from the outfield, and then he hopped on the mound and was up to 82. I mean, it was just really clean and showed off athleticism all day. And then, even his round of BP was good. But he impressed me. Right in the beginning of the event, I saw him. I was on the 60 or the 30, and I saw him run that, and I was right away impressed.
Yeah, he might have been the top athlete there. I think overall that's a good point. I think him or Owen Sunderson were kind of in the mix.
I think Miller actually led in like 3 out of the 4 or 5 athletic testing categories.
Yeah, that's a good note, Nick. And I saw his pen closely. I remember, and another guy that I kind of stowed away, like making mental note. West Scotia junior. Like it felt like he could kind of be just a reliable arm based on this, one-off look, but up to 82 with just 3 pitches, it felt like he had really showed really good confidence in the secondary, especially the slider. I thought, and just felt like that's one name to remember for sure on both sides of the ball. But it feels. You want to add anything on that? Because I think Owen Miller definitely deserves some attention here as well.
Yeah, I actually think I kind of like it on like in the outfield as well. I think he could potentially play center field with some arm strength as well. And if the swing continues to come up, he played up last year as a junior, or 16U playing 17U. So he's gotten a lot of experience as well. So just monitoring how much he hits is basically going to be it for him. Because I mean, you mentioned the mound, and I think the defense is going to play in the outfield. And, you know, he's an athlete as well.
Yeah.
I noticed too, like the outfield defense was athletic, moving, you know, kind of like attacking the baseball, getting through the ball aggressively, and then like some of the throws were like inaccurate, but then I was like, how's this going to play on the mound? And he was peppering the zone, so it was like, you know, maybe just trying to just, you know, launch balls on outfield defense type of thing. But like, I really was impressed with the delivery and how he's kind of the touch and feel for the baseball on the mound as well. But yeah, I liked it on both sides. I'm kind of in agreement with Fields. I think it's potentially going to be a solid position player profile, especially in center.
Yeah, good problem to have where it just kind of looks good on both sides of the ball. So Owen Miller for sure, 2027 from Westosha. And then Owen Sunderson, we could talk on here, another Illinois player that's just worth referencing because I thought this was another one of the top rounds of BP of the day, I would say. I mean, he was up 96 in this round, exit velocity, max exit velocity. Defense on the infield looked solid, 83 across, and then on the mound as well, I think he was like low 80s. I think he was up to, I want to say it was like a tick or two better.
It was 86 this past weekend.
Yeah, right, because I think he was on my mound this past weekend in O'Hare, and it was really good up there too. I don't think I saw this pen in Kenosha, but I just saw the one in O'Hare. But either way, another two-way player that like an athlete with some strength, like right-handed swing that looked good, and I didn't see the infield defense in O'Hare, but I think he was pretty good here in Kenosha too.
He was up to 91 at O'Hare.
Yeah, across, right? Yes, yeah. Yep.
Which that's
some tools here.
That was the best one of that event. So
yeah. So major tools here from Owen. So another player from Illinois to highlight from this weekend. We'll have to pass their name or his name along to our Illinois staff, or Nick, you're kind of playing both sides here for us, so you can do that. And then I think that covers a lot of the names we've gone through already. But anybody else that maybe I accidentally skipped over here that you guys want to chip in on?
I just want to, maybe other guys, if you want to jump in on a specific player that maybe we jumped over or skipped over. But I wanted to just kind of point out, we usually don't do this about specific programs or specific program heads. We just really can't, right, Andy? I mean, we have to be kind of like Switzerland a little bit, where we just kind of like, we're in it for the player, right? So at the end of the day, we're shining spotlights on the player. But this specific program head and Josh Colon, what a phenomenal job that he does at the Puma Academy, and just with the venue is also one of our favorites. I mean, it's it's not like the biggest venue that there is around the state, but it is certainly accommodating for our showcase. And Josh, just a tremendous guy, and throws A+ batting practice as well. We love that what he's able to do with some of the players down in that Kenosha area, and just really, I just wanted to give him a shout out, just to keep going, because I know he's helping a lot of players down there in southeastern Wisconsin, and he's just doing a phenomenal job. We love Josh.
Yeah, Wisconsin is in good hands with just the facilities it has. And that's why I think it's so fun to be a part of, because like you can't go wrong in a lot of these places. Like they've always been really accommodating to us. But getting to know Josh Colon is like, as long as I've been doing this, Josh has been around, and not just helping out in Kenosha at this event and one event, but I think he's helped us over the years, like in Illinois. He's come down if we're in a pinch. He needs, somebody's got we need a BP thrower, or fungo, whatever. Like he's always been kind of at the ready, like willing to just pitch in without any strings attached. And getting to know Josh Colon over the years, just the amount of care that he puts into this program, and the kids outside of it too. You could just tell he likes baseball and the health of baseball in Wisconsin too. So, yeah, it's always good seeing Josh, and seeing some of these guys within his own program too that stand out. It's a good yearly trip to make down there at the very least. So, yeah, shout out to Josh. But all right, cool. Well, I think that does sum up maybe the standouts here to speak on this podcast setting. But we went in depth on all those players and then some inside our quick hit story. We have data dives that talk about the leaderboards a little bit more. What metrics to look at, some definitions to go along with them. So you can check that out as well. And I'll reference here too some of the things coming up for us. So we will be in the Madison area at our Wisconsin Baseball Coaches Association convention coming up here Friday, Saturday. Vinny will be in attendance for sure, and then we'll see if any of the rest of us can join one of those days. We just got some events coming up in Illinois as well. But between now and our next event, so our next event takes us to Wausau at the Green Heck Turner Center in Weston on February 21st. That's a Saturday, and the following day we'll be in Waukesha at Sticks Academy, and then we'll be, the rest of the month of March, we'll have events in Green Bay, South Milwaukee at Hitters. We'll be in Eau Claire at Valley Sports Academy. And we'll also be in Mosinee and at Milwaukee in the Mosh Center as well. So it's jam-packed. It's a little daunting. Madison as well will be at GRB Academy. So we're everywhere. The next month or so, it's a little scary because it's just a ton of work to do, but it's fun. That's what we tell ourselves anyway. But anything, Vinny, you want to add on to that?
Just make sure you guys check out that schedule because, this is your guys' opportunity to, again, we're in it for the player. We want to shine that bright light. You're not going to find a better staff around the country. I'm standing by that here in Prep Baseball Wisconsin. Obviously, the company is in every state. The whole company does a phenomenal job, but we are the best. I'm gonna kind of pound the table on that. I mean, because we've learned from the best, right? From Drew Locascio, who oversees both states in Illinois and Wisconsin, and we have Josh Fields, Nick DiBenedetto, Andy Soroka, myself. We're just kind of making sure that you guys here in the state of Wisconsin are getting that bright light shined on you in order to play at that next level and find that great fit. Because, again, that is such an important piece to your careers. And if you love the game of baseball, and every single player that shows up at these events, I mean, you guys are hungry. You love it, and we are hungry to help you go to that next level and play at that next level. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody at an event. Make sure you're checking out that schedule and signing up and registering for an event because, again, we are very excited to see you guys for the rest of this winter and this next month or so.
Yeah, yep. So we got some really good events coming up. Couldn't have said it better myself, Vinny, so thank you for that. But otherwise, that will do it, I think, for today's episode of Badger State Ball. Unless Fields, Nick, you got anything? Otherwise, I'm going to have Vinny count us out here on our classic outro.
This is a great outro.
Nope, we're good.
We're good. All right, it's up to you, Vinny.
All right, go Team Cheese. Here we go. Let's go.
Go Team Cheese. All right, thank you guys. Thanks for listening.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Badger State Ball Podcast. To keep tabs on our latest events, rankings, and coverage, subscribe or follow the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, and follow us over at Prep Baseball WI on X and at PrepBaseballReport.com/Wisconsin. Until next time.